Chicago professor and cultural critic Laura Kipnis, whose work has been published by Slate and the New York Times, thinks that men who harass women should be chemically castrated and publicly executed. For the record, I strongly believe that bona fide harassers should be chemically castrated, stripped of their property, and hung by their thumbs in the nearest public square. Let no one think I'm soft on harassment, Kipnis wrote in an article for the Chronicle of Higher Education. The New Yorker's Rebecca Mead, a friend of Kipnis, characterized the professor's definition of harassment as, quote, unwanted sexual advances. Chemically castrating men and hanging them in public for harassing women. This is what a prominent professor who influences thousands of impressionable young women actually believes. Now tell me again how third wave feminism isn't about man-hating. So how do feminists define harassment? Well, just look at the recent Walking While Female video in New York, which received 40 million views on YouTube. Compliments about a woman's appearance and mere friendly greetings alone were all characterized as harassment. Should saying hello to an attractive woman mandate chemical castration? Should pick-up artists be publicly hung? But even if Kipnis defines harassment as physical groping, the vast majority of US states don't even mandate chemical castration for convicted paedophiles. So Kipnis is characterizing men who engage in unwanted sexual advances towards women, people who would normally be described as jerks, as worse than actual child molesters. But modern feminism is about equality, right? It has nothing whatsoever to do with misandry. I mean, it's not as if radical third-wave feminists are calling for killing all men, or at least putting them in concentration camps. Kipnis has even managed to outstrip rape by fraud activists in her chilling zeal for authoritarian bloodlust. Those are the women who think that men who lied to them about any aspect of their personal life before consensual sex should be dragged in front of the courts years later and charged with sexual assault. If this is what influential college professors are telling young women, is it any wonder that we're seeing an acceleration of the sexodus? Men checking out of dating and relationships because they've completely given up on approaching women. And if guys are being treated as sexual predators merely for complimenting women, or God forbid, hitting on them, who could blame them? This is yet another example of how third wave feminism is having a horrendous impact on personal relationships between the sexes. But wait, because the story gets even more bizarre. At the same Chicago University where Professor Kipnis teaches, Northwestern University, feminist students, along with others around the country, are holding a protest against Kipnis because she refuses to encourage the idea that young women are perpetual victims of the now widely debunked campus rape culture. Entitled Carry That Weight, the demonstrations involve women dragging mattresses and pillows around campus to protest against gender-based violence and rape culture in schools and colleges. The movement has been described by the New York Times as succinct and powerful. These young feminists seem to have missed the memo in terms of Justice Department statistics, which prove that young women on campus are less likely to be raped than women in the general population. After circulating fraudulent figures for years claiming that 1 in 5 female students are victims of sexual assault, the real number turned out to be 0.03, completely debunking the college rape culture myth. But here's the kicker. The alleged rape that served as the entire foundation of the Carry That Weight protest never actually happened. The alleged victim, Emma Sulkowicz, quote, filed a complaint against the student with campus authorities, but the subsequent hearing found him not responsible, and no disciplinary action was taken against him. Sulkowicz ultimately decided against filing police charges, instead choosing to channel her oppression into a mattress, which she insists travels with her everywhere she goes on campus. So some poor innocent young guy is the target of a vitriolic, nationwide feminist protest, demonizing him as a rapist for something he never did. Emma Sulkowicz, Forget dragging mattresses around campus. Forget your visual arts major. Rolling Stone magazine has a job for you, ready and waiting. So while feminists continue to organise phony outrage campaigns and protests based around complete fiction, actual victims of real rape culture in the Middle East continue to be completely ignored. While feminists rant and rage about a college rape culture that doesn't exist, protesting against rapes that didn't happen, women in Afghanistan are being thrown in prison and forced to marry men who raped them. Thousands of young girls across Europe are being abducted off the streets and sexually abused by Muslim rape gangs. Once again, we glimpse the true face of radical third-wave feminism, ignoring real rape victims while contriving a completely counterfeit rape culture. Vilifying men who hit on women as dangerous perverts who need to be chemically castrated and publicly executed. So here's my question. Do you still believe radical feminists when they claim that third-wave feminism isn't about man-hating? Let me know in the comments below. Check out the other videos, subscribe to the channel. I'm Paul Joseph Watson for Infowars.com.